Today it is time for what is apparently one of the craziest matches of Terran versus Terran that has ever been played at this level of StarCraft 2. I can imagine some of you clicked on this video, saw the duration of it, and anticipated a best of 3 or maybe even a best of 5 series. But nope, I gotta disappoint you, or actually, I gotta excite you. We're just gonna have a look at this one game right here that's played on Ephemeron. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of the map, playing with the blue SCVs. From South Korea, we have none other than Kjur. His opponent in the opposite corner, playing with the red Terran SCVs, likewise also from South Korea. One of the most successful Terran players of all time, and actually these days also a commentator for the GSL Codes, in Korean that is. We're looking inside of the main base of TY. Okay, so this game was played a couple of days ago during IEM Katowice, and I actually tuned in live at the very tail end of it. Now, this isn't gonna tell you anything, but I looked at the minimap once, and I realized, okay, this is a game that I have to go ahead and cast. I wanna know what ends up going down, because, well, the minimap, it looked absolutely ridiculous. You'll see what I mean here in just a little bit. I can imagine, though, because this is a Terran versus Terran, that there might be some less exciting, maybe even some boring moments in it. The thing is, in TVT, the defender's advantage, right? The defender's advantage is absolutely huge. If you're the one sitting there with a planetary fortress and a bunch of siege tanks, and maybe some static defense, some missile turrets and all that, the attacking player is pretty much always at a disadvantage, unless you manage to, you know, get your opponent out of position. I don't really know, but I can imagine there might be some moments where it's going to be a little bit less exciting. TY, though, sending that SCV across the map. Did not quite see the timing there of the command center, but he'll figure that out in just a little bit. Scouted right there that the second gas was not yet taken. And right now, well, he will see that command center here on the low ground. Most players would like to nibble away at the SCV for a little bit, but he knows that the Reaper will be coming up here in a little bit. And likewise, actually, for Kjur. He also scouted that his opponent already took the natural command center, so he didn't go into the main base, but he knows that the second gas will not be taken just yet. So it looks like we will be starting off this game like we do with many TVTs, with a little bit of that Reaper SCV skirmish. TY actually anticipating the Reaper to come in from the right-hand side. Not gonna happen. He's trying to outsmart his opponent, but Kjur is already going right here after the SCV that's building the command center on the low ground. Looks like that one will be getting killed. Now it all comes down to who gets the first hit off. Ooh, that grenade was actually beautiful as well. That does mean that Kjur had to stray a little bit further away. TY got an extra shot in, and it does mean that right now, well, despite apparently Kjur getting the one SCV advantage earlier, he's now going to end up losing one here as well. Second Reaper, though, was produced. Kjur is going to try and chase down that bastard that killed one of the SCVs. But, I mean, the Hellions will be coming out in a bit. He knows he needs to be careful, so he is going to back off right now as well. TY, actually, I know I've mentioned this once before, I think, in a video as well, but TY has been playing this game for such a long time. He used to be on a team called We Made Fox way back in StarCraft 1, and I believe he got recruited into that team when he was like 11 or 12 years old. Something like that. It's actually insane. So he played StarCraft 1 professionally ever since like the age of like 11 or 12. It's I don't remember exactly what age it was, but he was incredibly young. He actually used to play under the nickname Baby. Because of that, I mean, he was clearly the youngest player in the pro gaming scene at the time, and he changed his nickname when he switched to StarCraft 2 to TY instead. Now, for those of you wondering, why is his nickname TY? Because his nickname is not actually TY, it's just TY. Well, in StarCraft 2, there is a character limit for how many characters you can have in a nickname, but there's also actually a minimum. So you have to have a minimum of 3 characters. So he's just decided to go with TY in most of those games instead. Reaper right now knows the timing of when that medevac would likely be leaving. He gets in right at the perfect moment to scout exactly what's going on. At the very least, I'm assuming he knows that there might be that medevac right now on his opponent's side of the map. Not quite sending the units into the main, though, but he does have that Cyclone, he does have the Marines, he does also have a Hellion. I guess TY is only going to have a very short moment. This one Reaper man sacrificing his life, pretending to make a misplay. But in reality, this does open up the opportunity right now for TY to go into the main base. I love it. Pretending like you're bad at the game. This is actually going to cost quite a few SCVs. In the meantime, by the way, on the other side of the map, a couple of workers were also killed. But this is a nice little advantage for TY. Quite surprised actually Kjur did not even anticipate this little move here. It seemed quite obvious, right? But I guess if you see everything like we do, we can see the entire map, we can see everything that's going on. it's pretty clear what's going to happen next. Either way, though, a couple of SCVs were killed on both sides of the map. Cure was already a little bit ahead when it came to that SCV count anyway, so the disadvantage right now is very much so negligible. Ooh, nice little pickup there. Man, I want to be a Marine in the army of TY. He cares for his troops. You know, some Terran players just stim forward, make them take those combat drugs. They just make them stim forward and, you know, give their life for the Terran Dominion. Not Cure, though. Even saving those two just now that were under a little bit of pressure. Raven now making its way across the map as well. Third command center coming up already for Cure. I wonder if he wants to drop down the auto turret inside of the main, or if he will actually go for the third base. He's gonna hang out right here at this this watering station over here. What do you call one of those things in English? I'm not entirely sure. But I guess he's probably gonna wait while he's pushing at the same time to maybe go for some multi-pronged harassment. It's the oldest trick in the StarCraft book, right? Since your opponent can only look at one thing at once, if you can hit him at multiple angles, it's absolutely amazing. Now, nice little bit of target firing there. Manages to get a few of those SCVs already. Not bad at all. At the same time, on the other side of the map, feels like I've seen this before. Deja vu. Ooh, getting a Raven kill would be absolutely massive. Not gonna happen, though. A lot of lost mining time. And actually, he could probably target fire down the SCV here. Decided to go after the Cyclone instead. Did not quite get the kill, but getting a Cyclone certainly can turn the tides of battle very, very quickly. But you can see both players really respecting each other here. Not really making the assumption they can obtain the victory really easily. Judging by the fact that TY is now switching over his barracks to a tech lab, we will likely be seeing him transition towards a bio-based army. And yep, judging by the fact that he's now also going for double engineering bay and 2 more barracks, Stimpak indeed will be the upgraded choice. So that does mean it's going to be a bio-based transition. And the same actually can be said right here for Cure. He hasn't started up Stimpak yet. Wouldn't be surprised to see that here in just a second. Wouldn't be surprised to see the engineering base. Oh, there they are actually coming up here too. And, well, it looks like both players are making the transition towards that bio-Terran army. Interestingly enough, actually, at IEM Katowice, I saw very few Terran players actually try mech at all. I feel like mech is the only thing I currently face on the ladder, but not really happening so much in this tournament. I guess most of them have decided that Terran bio is the way to open up. Now, TY is inching forward here. Keep in mind, the interference matrix is huge. You can shut down a couple of those tanks very easily. Kyoto doesn't have Stimpak at this point, so it's hard to get much done. Once again, a little bit of a Raven right here on the other side of the map too. A lot of damage being done to both players. I'm actually quite surprised with the amount of damage that both of them are taking. They are quite aggressive here with the position of their armies. They have to, because otherwise they end up losing, you know, their main force. But both players take an awful lot of losses here already. At this point in the game, we're already up to 40 SCV kills. Guys, I did math in a video, and I even did it correctly. I know. Math and recording a video are usually a big no-no. But, hey, I did it. My mom said I wouldn't account to anything. Well, here I am, Mom. It's all led up to this one moment. Actually, no. I'm kidding. My mom has always been very supportive. Okay, I'm not going to continue doing math, though. It's terrible. Terrible risk. I know at some point I, like, tried to add up the amount of workers. I was like, oh, yeah, 64 plus 74 is, like, 179, right? And for some reason, it seemed completely correct in my mind. Well, those weren't the exact numbers, but I've made terrible mistakes. I like to say, okay, here's the thing. Whenever I do math and it goes wrong, and this goes on the stream as well, I'm very fluent when it comes to talking in English, right? I feel very confident talking in English. That's not really a problem. I never really count in English, though. This is my theory, and I don't know if it's right, but I feel like if I were to do the math in Dutch instead, I mean, you guys wouldn't be able to follow. I mean, it would be 21 plus 21 is 42. You know, you guys would have a hard time following. I feel like it's much easier to do math in Dutch for me. I think it's probably just a matter of practice. I'm not very used to doing math in English. At least that's just my theory, but... Hey, there you go. The number 42. It's 42, guys. 42. Actually, in Dutch, here's a fun little bit of trivia, while we see both players doing a little bit of nothing. In Dutch, we don't say 42. We say, like... 24, I guess, if we want to say 42. It's weird. We say the 2 first. It's odd. That's one of the things that's confusing about it. Anyways, it's the same in like German and stuff. Cure does have a couple of those cyclones right here on the left-hand side of the map. Few SCVs apparently. Ooh, they were moving forward. Not quite going to be able to catch this off guard. Cure already pushing right now on the other side of the map, trying to see if he can shut down a potential of the 4th base. He's constructing his own 4th base at this point, so both players really just giving each other as much wiggle room as they need. Really respecting what's going on. Now, I gotta say, though, the supply count right now, not lying, Cure has been trading more efficiently. He has been doing a better job. When it comes to resources lost, you can see significantly more units were lost right here for the Terran player in red. I would love to see a push out, maybe when +2/+2 finishes. The thing is, though, 2-2 is still quite a while away, right? When 2-2 is done right here for Cure, TY is gonna have, you know, probably 200 supply, right? He's probably gonna be caught up at that point. The skirmishes at this point will probably mostly go for the outer bases. This map does make it difficult to drop the main base. So on some maps, it's pretty easy to go with like a big medevac clump into the main base. But here we go. Apparently, Cure decides to stim forward. Goes after some of those tanks. Ooh, backs off at the perfect moment. Nice little bit of a push there. That was really, really nicely done, actually. It's so easy to like stim too far. I think that's what pretty much all of us do, right? When we play Terran Bio. That's the real downside of Terran Bio. If you stim like 2 steps too far and you're accidentally in the line of fire of those 4 tanks, those Marines are all gone. Like, they will be gone almost immediately. And at that point, I mean, you're like 20, 30 supply-ish behind. You lose the game so very quickly. It's so easy at that point for your opponent to just stim forward and obtain the victory. So, it's super unforgiving. Very easy to make mistakes in TVT. And it's one of the reasons why I personally do favor playing that mech army over Bio. So, Bio, once again, for those of you unfamiliar, it's that infantry-based force. The ones based around the Marine. Mech. It's the one that's based primarily around siege tanks, Hellions, Liberators, those kinds of units. Thors, I mean, those have become pretty popular as well. Already, though, a fusion core is coming up here for Cure. He's getting close to that maxed out state. 198 supply right now. I guess for all intents and purposes, we can call that maxed out. Bit of a push right now from TY as well. He's scanning, though. He knows exactly what's going on. Planetary Fortress also being acquired here on the other side of the map. Siege tanks, though, are gonna protect that just fine. And while Jimmy and his squad, they're desperately hiding from the Marines of TY. Ooh, wow. Okay, well, they have been spotted. I'm sorry, man. The hit squad right here of the Blue Marines. Not quite gonna happen as they give their life for the Terran Dominion. But not without giving at least a couple of kills right there as well to the opponent. Or, well, the other way around. For their own party, I guess. Planetary fortresses, though, they are set up in key locations right now. And I can imagine, yeah, we'll probably see a push for those center bases here in a little bit. Cure opting to go for the command center in a bit more of a safe location. Whereas TY, apparently, he's feeling confident he can just simply... Why is he only... What? That seems odd, right? I thought maybe he was already going for the second upgrade, or the second command center as well. But no, he's just going for a single one that's not quite in position. I guess he feels a little bit safer putting it down over here. Definitely giving the advantage, though, so far here to Cure. He's playing this absolutely beautifully. He's ahead in upgrades, going for the double Stargate or Starport follow-up right now. Also getting himself, well, here we go, StarCraft trivia, the Corvid reactor upgrade. It's the improvement for the Raven. Really the most important thing to know. And you can see right now, Cure goes for the second armory. Now, this is what I think is really cool. One of the standard things that we saw a lot in StarCraft 1 was players opening up with Bio, and later on into the game, when they had secured enough economy, is when they would make the switch to mech. Because mech, ultimately, in one-on-one battles, is stronger, right? And this is a more recent development in StarCraft 2 right now as well. It's taken 10 years for this to become a thing, but it seems like a similar thing is happening right now in SC2 as well. It's normal to have one armory just for the siege tank upgrades, but most of the time, we will be seeing that transition towards either like Sky Terran or just straight up Mech Terran when it gets to this stage in the game. So we'll see what Cure decides to research here in a little bit. Ranged upgrade. Ooh, well, nope, never mind. He was going to go for the ranged upgrade first. Now he's going to go for the medevac upgrade and then also the weapon refit for potential of Battlecruisers. 3-3 is going to finish up here in just a second for Cure, who's actually decided to take the base in the bottom left-hand corner, whereas TY is going to go for the base right here on the high ground. Now, at some point, these players are going to have to commit, right? At some point, they're going to have to make a call. It is going to be the vehicle plating. So, both the flying units as well as the mech units, they all benefit from the vehicle plating. They do have the split upgrades. So, it's a little bit different compared to StarCraft 1. And you can see right now, turret rings are being set up. Another thing that really reminds me of StarCraft 1. Turret rings were very popular around bases to prevent medivacs, or I guess dropships at that point, to come in. You can see, though, Cure still opting to have those Vikings in that position instead. Ooh, nice little bit of orange paint right there on those siege tanks. The orange paint, by the way, it's the anti-armor missile. It's a spell from the Raven. And basically, it reduces the armor of a unit. So it makes it very difficult to fight. Units that have reduced armor take additional damage. At the same time, though, while TY is defending, he's also now pushing towards this high ground base. Looks like it won't be enough, though, as Cure does have enough units to deflect this right now as well. And you can see pretty much all the upgrades right now are coming up. Look at this. 3-3 is done. So we see the, what's this one called? Neo Steel Armor? Or Neo Steel, yeah, I think it's Neo Steel Armor. This one is, oh my god, high-sec auto-tracking. I think this game is stressing my StarCraft 2 knowledge. But basically, it's the armor up, or the building upgrades. So it's the additional range right there on the planetaries. Additional range actually on the missile turrets as well. Also on the auto turrets of the Raven, although I don't really know exactly how relevant that will be. But also additional armor for some of these structures too. And then actually also additional, oh, actually hold that thought. No, he's gonna back off. Additional units inside of a bunker. So with this vehicle upgrade, or this, basically they've combined two upgrades into one. It used to be like Neo Steel frame and then like building armor, I think is what they're called. And now they like merged the two upgrades together about a year ago into like Neo Steel armor, I think is what it's called. Anyways, well, they still call it building armor. I don't think that's what it's called, is it? Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, sometimes like basically this, oh my god. He's sacrificing the SCVs at this point. It's a weird moment. But this overlay thing that I use is not necessarily always accurate. Because, for example, that upgrade right there is not called Yamato Cannon. It's called Weapon Refit. It is unlocking a Yamato Cannon, though. Anyways, despite all of this action going on right now, both players are taking a tremendous amount of losses. Lots of Marines dropped right there on siege tanks. Cure is setting up some static defense right here in the center of the map. The same can actually be set right now for TY, who's also setting up a lot of static defense right here in the center of the map. Battlecruisers are going up. Look at this, man. This is a crazy game. Both players didn't really take that much damage. At the very least, not critical amounts of damage to the point where, you know, you can really say that the other can go for an advantage or go for like a game-ending push just because of that advantage for the defender. Having that position on the siege tanks is huge. Having those planetary fortresses is really nice as well. Now, that was beautiful. Cure does manage to get himself a nice anti-armor missile right there. May open up the door right here for him to push forward. But look at this. This gets the StarCraft nerd in me so excited. We opened up with Marines and tanks and medivacs and all that, right? Couple of Ravens, couple of Vikings. At some point, players were like, okay, I gotta add in additional Vikings and additional Ravens so I can deal with my opponent's siege tanks better. And right now, we see the Marines basically being replaced whenever they die with big flying capital ships. Liberator upgrades, vehicle upgrades, flying unit upgrades. Basically, all of the upgrades the Terrans can get right now will lead towards a Battlecruiser late-game army. Here we go. The first couple of BCs dealing a bunch of damage right here. Cure is trying to establish this base. TY, at the same time, doing the same thing. Cure also has the Battlecruisers in this position. Those missile turrets, though, are going to be absolutely massive. So it makes sense to get that building armor and then also the high-sec auto-tracking, right? Having +1 range on those missile turrets is actually really big. Battlecruisers, though, they still have their tactical jump available, so none of them really should be going down here. This is nice. Cure should be able to grab himself the kill on this planetary, or well, it's going to be a planetary later, I'm sure, but he's going to be able to, at the very least, prevent this one from happening right now. Now, big tactical jump right here from TY. It takes a second before the units arrive. Already the VCs, though, decided to jump to safety as well. Apparently, they managed to get to the natural. And, well, this is what I meant. Look at the minimap. Have you ever seen that many freaking sensor towers? Sensor towers are everywhere. Well, this looks like a misplay, but TY is actually getting rid of those Marines right now, just like he was getting rid of those SCVs earlier. It's all on purpose. He's replacing them with flying units and full-on Terran mech. So sick, right? Isn't that sick? I love this. This is so cool. This is very much so undiscovered territory. Cure right now making a brave move towards the main base as well. He needs to get rid of some of this supply. He's trying to replace it right now with 4 freaking Battlecruisers at once, 5 Battlecruisers at once, and then also 2 Vikings. Hey, you guys want to know another little bit of trivia while we see both of these players making a bit of a force? Did you know, and this is going to blow some of you guys' minds, okay? If you look very closely at the missile turret, there's a guy sitting in the missile turret. Are you seeing it? Like when it turns back around, right here in the center. There's a dude sitting in the missile turret. And therefore, I want to make the argument that missile turrets should be 1 supply each. What do you guys think? No, that would be really dumb. Nah, I was just kidding. But there is a dude in the missile turret. And for some reason, he doesn't cost any supply. It's magical. It's a magical guy. Maybe it's an artificial intelligence that's made to look like a human. You know? To make the opponent think that there's a guy in the thing, so they put too much value on it, when in reality it's just, well, I don't know. Anyways, Yamato Cannon's only just now being researched actually right here for TY, but he does have some really solid upgrades already. Full upgrade actually ahead when it comes to those flyer weapons. Both players, though, have now basically secured their sides of the map. If you were to, like, draw a horizontal line, or like a semi-horizontal line, I guess, from, like, right here to, like, right here on the minimap, right? So, basically these 2 spots. The entire top section of the map has been taken by TY. The entire bottom section of the map has been taken by Cure. Now, despite the fact that the defender's advantage is huge, if you can prevent your opponent from mining one of those bases, or maybe even take control of one of those bases, or even just drop a bunch of mules and, like, prevent them from mining any of those resources, right? You do obtain a massive lead. So the scan right now for Cure does indeed reveal exactly what's going on. TY now also inching forward, trying to go after the guys in those missile turrets. Killing a bunch of them, but not killing any supply. Yeah, he's trying to see if he can slow down this base. I think this game will probably be decided by those outer bases. Because those are the ones that really are attackable right now, right? Like the high ground ones and the bottom left end and then the top right hand corner. I mean, those are very difficult to attack into. I think it will mostly come down to the gas right here that can be harvested over here. Now, this is quite nice. There you go. Ooh, you know what? He's actually just going to commit to it right now. Massive fight here for Cure. The interference matrix does indeed also prevent the battlecruisers from jumping away. So Raven's absolutely key here. So the anti-armor missile plus the interference matrix, absolute key mechanics at this point in the game. +3/+3 though being researched here as well. No +3/+3 just yet coming up here for Cure. Only going for the plating upgrade. Really needs to make sure that it gets the flyer upgrade here in a little bit as well. This is obviously a situation that both of these players haven't been in before that much either. Like, how often do you get into a game where at the 22-minute mark, no one's really ahead? Like, that's not really something that usually happens. The great Yamato cannons, though. Pretty sick move, and both players continue right now with the insane Battlecruiser production. A couple of Liberators are being added on as well. I guess the Liberators are there primarily to force the unsiege on the opponent's tanks. And this is cool. Ooh, would you look at that? Drilling Claws. And then a couple of Widow Mines are coming up here for TY. Huh. So the Drilling Claws upgrade will make those Widow Mines, well, drill into the ground a lot quicker. They technically also make them cloaked in between, but I mean, I don't think that's particularly relevant. There's so much detection here. All of these missile turrets are detectors. Couple of BCs here. Trying to get brave, but, well, they immediately retreated with their tail between their legs. With their weapon refit between their thrusters. With their, I don't know. Ooh, wow. Big misplay, actually. Gets 2 of those Ravens for free. A couple of siege tanks also go down, but I kind of feel like siege tanks aren't as worthwhile at this point. Cure, in the meantime, also fights over here. Likely to lose 1 battlecruiser, as it is fighting a couple of those. Yep, a couple of those missile turrets all by itself. The planetary fortress does go down, though, and that's massive. Cure right now has 1 more base than his opponent. If this is secured for like another 5 to 10 minutes, right? Which is obviously a long time, but his advantage will be super significant. Mining 1 more base when your opponent is mining 1 less, I mean, it's a significant advantage. I would even like to sort of see him, like, that would be next level, right? I would love to see him, like, drop a bunch of mules over here just to, like, steal resources. I actually think it's a legitimate play. Minerals aren't that critical anymore at this point in the game. I mean, both players, well, you know what? I say that. I expected the banks to be bigger. TY actually has been forced to spend a lot of their money, or of his money. Plural? Did I just refer to TY as plural? Amazing. Here's the thing. Battlecruisers are really expensive. This is the thing that Zerg players and Protoss players don't really realize. Okay, if you're a Zerg or a Protoss player, right? How much do you think a Battlecruiser costs? Just have a number in your head, okay? Okay, you got something? They are 400 minerals and 300 gas each. They are so expensive. Like, they are really, really, really expensive. It's not something you can just make. Now, I gotta say, by the way, big fan of the classic skin here. But yeah, remaxing on Battlecruisers is very pricey. You need like, at least like, I would say 5k in the bank in order to properly do so. Maybe that's the reason why TY decides to go for Widow Mines right now. I guess the Widow Mines can give you that like comeback potential, right? I mean, I definitely like the position here for Cure a little bit better. Especially because of the base that he's got extra right now. But the Widow Mines kind of prevent the opponent from jumping on this. So maybe TY kind of wants the opponent to jump on this. He knows right now though, I mean, Cure that is, he's seen the fact that Widow Mines are part of the game. So he knows that there's the potential of him jumping on it. It's a weird, but like it's a weird position to be in though. Battlecruiser, like air to ground, is relatively low range, right? Like they have to be rather close to the opponent. I'm not entirely sure how the dynamic between Widow Mines and then Battlecruiser plays out. Now we all do know, right, that this is leading up to that one big clash. There's gonna be a fight where all of the Battlecruisers will face off against the opponent's Battlecruisers. I mean, I think that will be happening here. It should be happening. 3-3 upgrades done on both sides. Both players basically as upgraded as they can be. TY, I mean, he's got like smart servos, he's got the ranged upgrade, he's got a bunch of extra upgrades that really don't make much of a difference here. I mean, ooh, big. Ooh, anti-armor missiles. The anti-armor missiles kind of make it difficult as well. Oh, that's... Oh, yeah. So I was right. The range apparently is not long enough. So Cure actually trying to get rid of those Widow Mines using the Raven auto turret instead. The thing is, no one wants to fight when anti-armor missile is on them, you know? Like, that orange paint, it's absolutely, absolutely massive. If you manage to fight when your opponent has anti-armor missile on their units, it's huge. So either both of them are going to have anti-armor missile, which means that they're like, you know, armor upgrades aren't going to be particularly useful anymore, or neither of them will. That's a big one. So this could like prompt TY right now to move forward. But does he have the army for it? How many Battlecruisers are we talking? Dude, that is a significant difference. 18 Battlecruisers versus 11. A lot of that supply right now of TY is caught up in a bunch of additional SCVs. He's also got way more Ravens. He's also got a lot of Vikings, but the same can actually be said right here for Cure. What's better? Do you want 5 more Ravens or do you want 5 more Battlecruisers? My gut instinct is telling me Battlecruisers, but maybe TY knows something that I don't know. Because the fact of the matter is right now, the only reason why this base is up and running here is because Cure cannot move forward, right? He's making a bit of a move right now, but whenever he does, I'm assuming that the anti-armor missile will start flying across the sky immediately again, and that forces Cure to back off because he doesn't want to fight while anti-armor missile is active. I love this though, adding in a couple of siege tanks at this point, pretty cool. Yeah, I think TY is mostly just giving up this position right now. I think he's actually giving up this spot to try and see if he can go after his opponent's bases instead. Notice, by the way, as both players are giving up their SCVs, they're replacing them primarily with mules at this point. So SCVs not that important anymore. You just need them for the gas mining. Good anticipation there from Cure, though. He's inching forward towards the planetary here on the right-hand side, and it flies his big capital ships towards this base. I love the Widow Mines, actually. I wasn't sure about them, but I feel like they are... You know, they are really like what can potentially get you back into this. And once again, like this is not like TY is in like a losing position. It's just that Cure seems to be in full control of this. There's literally an SCV right now going after a siege tank. It's gonna take a while, but eventually it will get picked off. Yeah, so Cure right now, establishing missile turrets at this point in the map too. How exactly are you gonna prevent this from happening? I feel like TY needs to get that really, really big Widow Mine detonation, though. And as long as Cure can prevent that, his just simply bigger amount of Battlecruisers should work out in his favor. Siege tanks keep shelling away here. Both players trying to outsmart and outmaneuver each other. So far, it's not happening. This is so strange, dude. I've never seen this before. It's a bunch of SCVs fighting siege tanks because that's the only way TY can potentially shut this down. The range right now on these Battlecruisers, or the planetaries, though, is very significant. Question is, though, if this base falls, that's bad for TY. But if you can prevent this base over here as well, I think it's okay. The thing is, Cure has been very slowly and methodically pushing forward. And it feels like he's outplaying his opponent so far in the late game. Right? He's anticipating movement. He knows what's going on. Once again, by the way, glance over at the minimap just for a little bit if you haven't. It's pretty dumb. Both players can literally see everything. I mean, not everything, but the fog of war is just, you know, it's not even really fog anymore. It's just war. The fog of war is just war at this point. There's very little secrets, is what I'm trying to say. Both of them know exactly what's happening, especially with this amount of orbital comments as well. They know that there's, you know, an opponent out there and that it's Battlecruiser focused, and they know where everyone's located. The scans will probably end up going down here continuously because it's critical to know where your opponent is moving. Battlecruiser is rather slow as well for capital ships. I mean, they have tactical jump, obviously, but other than that, not so great. Ooh. Yeah, he really does not like those Widow Mines. TY trying to establish some of this position here in the center of the map, but you know what? Like, the fact that he's not mining that position and the fact that still those siege tanks are set up over there, I really like it here for Cure. Now, I think what TY is trying to do, he's trying to take control of this section of the map so he can work on this section of the map instead. All this time, though, Cure is mining an additional base. So if you look at the banks right now at the bottom section of the screen, look at the amount of money here that Cure has. It all comes down to the fight. Anti-armor missiles constantly being used. Beautiful shot actually there by TY. Cure right now forced to reposition some of his units. So here's the thing though, right? The bank is nice, but hypothetically speaking, if TY can win this fight, right? If he jumps on his opponent's production with all of those Battlecruisers, the BCs that his opponent likely will try to remax on are going to take like 7.5 years to come out. I mean, at that point, it feels like 7.5 years anyway. TY, by the way, successfully managed to go what he, or get what he wanted. He is now securing this command center once again. Yo, can we see a row of Yamato cannons right on top of that, like, base? That'd be fun. I want to see it blow up. But yeah, now that the base is reacquired, it's pretty big. But I think the player that ends up winning the fight, right? So say Cure wins the fight, he will just technically jump straight to where the production is located. And if you can pick up the production as it's coming out of the, well, the starport or the factory or the barracks or whatever, you are at a massive, massive advantage. So the bank doesn't really sell you that much. Battlecruiser is really good. If Battlecruisers are left over, like, they can really turn the tide of battle really easily. Cure, though, has a huge bank. Look at the bank! It's just that one extra base that he's had for a while and the fact that he's trading more efficiently. I also think I like the army better. I'm going back and forth with this. I'm flip-flopping, but I think that the Widow Mines, they were a fun idea, but Cure didn't misplay, so right now, TY, also, not entirely sure what he wants to do. He's remaking a lot of Ravens. Now, is he making Ravens because he wants to? No, he probably wants to make Battlecruisers at this point, but he doesn't have the money. He's got a lot of gas. He's gonna go up to 10 Ravens. I'm not sure about 10 Ravens, dude. I guess anti-armor missile is nice, but I can imagine, like, the fight will happen with all units having anti-armor missile on them anyway. I would be very surprised if that doesn't happen. So, Cure at an advantage. I think we can all agree on that. But it's not game over yet. If TY wins the engagement because of one missed position and jumps to his opponent's production, I think that's still game. He's right now actually getting into a pretty good spot as well. Cure not quite located over here, so he's finally going to be able to put some counter pressure on this base. Man, Battlecruisers with +3 are so strong. Woo! They deal a lot of damage. Ooh! Now that's cool. I like this. Cure, with a bit of an attitude, decides to go after what seems to be his opponent's base. TY, by the way, never got his +3 vehicle weapons. Don't know if it really matters. Widow Mines are, do not benefit from those upgrades. More fun StarCraft 2 trivia. Widow Mines actually are spellcasters. Did you know that? Widow Mines do not benefit from the weapon upgrades of well, the Battlecruiser, or like, for example, the siege tanks do. And likewise, because it's considered spell damage, it also ignores all armor. Just like, well, a lot of other things in the game do. Like, High Templar. I mean, it's pretty clear that High Templar, they're basically wizards, right? It's pretty clear that High Templar do not benefit from upgrades, right? Not at the same way anyway. Like, it's pretty clear that they are spellcasters, but for Widow Mines, it always strikes me as a little bit odd. I guess the fact that they can, like, burrow underground and then shoot infinite missiles up above is kind of magical. Cure, by the way, he's going to start working on his opponent's refinery here in a little bit, using the planetary fortress. Do you think the Terran player right here in blue should be able to use this refinery? Because, I mean, this refinery is identical to the one right here, right? Shouldn't he be able to use it? Anyways, TY knows right now he's in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, he took care of this base, but obviously this refinery right now scouts out what's going on. He knows that his opponent is mining more than him, and you know what? There's only about a 2,000 resource bank right now for TY. Cure is sitting at like 15k. I know, I did math again. I added the word like in it though, so that made it, you know, foolproof. For myself, that is. Myself being the fool. Now this positioning here, I think that's gonna be enough, right? Yep. Battlecruisers deal so much damage. Once again, a couple of interference matrices do go down. Gotta be careful though. I would love for Cure actually to add on like 1 or 2 more Ravens. I feel like 2 is kind of low. Anti-armor missiles are so critical. 2 is not that much. If your opponent splits and you only have the mana for 2 anti-armor missiles, it's not even that great. I feel like right now TY could technically try to fight. Right? Just spray anti-armor missiles over all of this. Try to fight without missile turrets, and I think there's a chance. Now, as this map is mining out, you can see top right-hand base running really, really low. Center base will also be taken care of here in just a little bit. I mean, all of these mineral patches only have a few hundred at best. These players are going to have to make a move. I wonder if at some point there's going to be an undecided match of StarCraft because no one wants to commit. Do you think that's possible? I think it is. Judging by the fact that there's so much static defense and the opponents can't really get much done. I guess at that point it will mostly come down to the Yamato cannons, right? You can always Yamato gun down a couple of these missile turrets. I think you can Yamato gun out of range. Can you? Repair obviously costs money, so... Yeah, you can. You can. TY though pushes forward right now, gets rid of a bunch of those missile turrets. Nicely done. Maybe this is the moment that he's waiting for. Yeah, here we go. He does get the anti-armor missiles. Does he want to fight this? He needs to pick a moment. He cannot stick in this game if he does not pick a moment. Every time he loses a unit, he's gonna like run lower and lower on money. SCV's now fighting missile turrets here in the center. Oh, both players looking like they want to take a battle. Cure actually lends a couple of Yamato guns right there on his opponent's force. Planetary fortress on the high ground falls. Great move. Oh, well, yeah, okay, it does. Great move right there by TY, who's now looking to hunt down the base here in the bottom left-hand corner. Obviously, fatigue and stamina come into this equation as well, right? How many times can you play a game like this? You have to be looking at your opponent. You gotta shark around the map. You gotta try and outposition each other. It all comes down to who can take the fight better, inevitably. But yeah, it's absolutely critical right now to not slow down. You gotta make the fight. TY, despite having an army that was a little bit lackluster earlier, really gets into a beautiful spot right now. Still though, Kira has got another fully mining base, right? Thing is though, he's lost the base here on the high ground, right? So is this really that great of a position right now? TY though lends a massive anti-armor missile on pretty much all of the army right here of Cure. Cure right now is gonna activate the Yamato cannons. He needs a couple more anti-armor missiles. He's fighting without anti-armor missiles here. TY is dealing so much damage at this point. Yamato guns are going down left and right. The Vikings shooting away from a distance as well. We'd love to see a couple of auto turrets. Yeah, indeed, landing on the ground. TY is dealing a tremendous amount of damage. Who exactly is winning? Supply counts are pretty much even. We now see Cure replenishing this force with a couple of those BCs as well, but they will take a very long time to come out. TY shuts down so much of this. Ooh, one Battlecruiser just barely jumps away in time. I think you need to go. I think, yeah, you need to get on top of this production, TY. You cannot fight this if your opponent is going to be able to replenish because his bank is so much bigger. He won the fight because there weren't enough anti-armor missiles on the side of Cure. Cure right now, desperately remaking Marines. He's making Battlecruisers, he's making Thors. I think the Thors are a great choice, but it's so easy to get all of those units picked off and to get the worst possible trade. You can see Cure's massive bank here that he had a little bit ago. It's completely gone. He doesn't have any money anymore. Everything is caught up right here in these unit-producing structures. The mules have been landed. TY desperately trying to repair as much of this army as he can. He's going to lose so much money out of this as well. Remaking as much of an army as he can. Couple more reinforcing Battlecruisers right now coming up. He's trying to get as much damage done as he can, but the BCs on the side of Cure have spawned. He's landing the Yamato guns. He's trying to do as much as he can. Marines are coming out. The unit that we started this entire game with, Marines, are gunning down as much of this as possible. TY, GG's out in one of the sickest endings of a match of StarCraft that I have ever seen. So, I think we can all say, Cure adding in like 1 or 2 additional Ravens, going up to 4 Ravens there in the late game, probably would have been a good idea. The thing is, though, I don't know, maybe he mismicroed a little bit during that battle as well. The thing is, when anti-armor missiles are going down on both sides, all of the units are orange. So I can't tell which unit is which. I don't really know how to describe it any better. I wonder if maybe the anti-armor missile effect should be redone. Or say, like, it should be, like, a pinkish, like a magenta-ish color on one side. And then, like, you know, another color on the other side. Because orange, I mean, everything was orange there at the end, right? I mean, at the very least, the vast majority. You gotta keep in mind as well that anti-armor missile also deals friendly fire. So if you just jump on your opponent and then, like, anti-armor missile, it's not a good idea, because then you anti-armor missile your own units as well. So I feel like that spell may need a little bit of fine-tuning as far as the graphics go. But anyways, that was a sick game of TVT. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for all of your generosity. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile alright. And I'll see you once again in the next one.